I've been thinking about this video by Scott Dawaz and Alfarad a lot recently, where they talk about which characters to keep and remove from the Smash Ultimate roster. So it got me thinking about the characters I personally want in Smash. Which isn't a lot if I'm being honest. Smash Ultimate is 5 years old at this point, which is extremely weird to say since it feels like the announcement trailer just came out yesterday. I don't really know if Smash 6 is just around the corner or not, but it's always fun to talk about characters you want in Smash, so here's my personal wishlist. Karlach. Baldur's Gate 3. This character and this video game is the main reason why I made this video in the first place. I initially thought about putting Astarion or Lae'zel since they are kinda like the face of Baldur's Gate 3 in a way, but I think gameplay wise and character wise, Karlach makes the most sense and come on, it's Karlach. Her dorky and goofy nature would interact really well with characters like Pichu, Mario, Kirby, Isabelle, Steve, and like seriously, she would freak out at the sight of Kirby. I think it would also be really cool to see the rage mechanic implemented in Smash. Maybe it could be activated with down B, and then increases her damage, she takes less damage from attacks that represent bludgeoning, piercing, slashing damage, and stuff like that. If she hasn't taken damage or attacked during a certain amount of time, the rage will end just like in D&D. She'd also be a really fun heavy character to play as and play against, and playing as a Barb in Smash would be so much fun. The rage mechanic is probably going to be a nightmare gameplay wise since it will encourage a lot of stalling from the opponents and it might be too much to account her resistances. But I think it will be super cool, and its flavoring, it'll represent what makes D&D and Baldur's Gate great. I think we can all agree that seeing Karlach in the style of Smash Bros would be really cute. This character wishlist is already ambitious anyway, but my argument will always be this image. The next rep is from a series that's super likely, but I really do want a Xenoblade 3 rep. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 was one of my favorite games from 2022, and it is one of my favorite series of all time. It would be really sick to see the Xenoblade representation continue in Smash. It seems likely that it will either be Noah or Mio, and Mio would especially be super cool to see gameplay wise since her base class is one of my favorites in the game. But hear me out, what if we got Senna? The girl with the gall herself. I absolutely adore Senna. I think she'd fit in really well with the chaos of Smash. Her base class would make her really fun to play as because they could possibly make her like a heavyweight and a heavy hitting character with like the hurt box of Pichu or something. Can you tell that I like heavy characters? And this is me giving myself an excuse to say that I really want to see Karlach and Senna interact. In a perfect world where Smash 6 or 7 or 8 exists with these two characters in it, majority of my hours in that game will just be me going to camera mode to take cute screenshots of them.
What's the story?
I'm the girl with the gall.
What a charmer.
I know Noah or Mio are probably the more practical representatives for the game, and I'd be happy to get a Xenoblade 3 rep at all. But who knows, maybe there's some employee in Nintendo and Monolith watching this video thinking, you know what, this guy's got a point, put Senna in. And hey, think about it, we didn't get Rex as the rep for Xenoblade 2, so it would be cool if they did that again. Now that I've gotten a couple of people angry with my first two character wish lists, let's all start agreeing that Nier Automata, an incredible game, 2B would be amazing in Smash, 2B deserves to be in Smash, 2B is an incredible character with an incredible design. Wow, I really love 2B, don't I? The combat of Nier would flow really well into Smash Bros gameplay. It would be really cool if they found a way to implement the different weapons from the game as well as the mechanics of the pod. With how good the movement and the combat feels in Nier, I can already imagine how great it would feel to play as her in Smash. It's at this point in the video where I'm realizing I don't know how to do transitions, so that sounded a lot funnier in my head when I was writing this script. So please don't click off the video. Crash Bandicoot! I was really rooting for this guy to be in the DLC Pack 2 of Ultimate, and honestly I'm still surprised he didn't make it. Crash Bandicoot was a big part of my childhood and one of the games that made me love platformers. And then I grew up and tried the remastered trilogy and had to refund it because it made me realize that life comes at you fast. Despite that, he's still very important to me as a character and played a big part in my love for video games, so yeah, please get him in Smash. I know it's a lot to ask for another Final Fantasy VII character rep, says the guy who just asked for a Baldur's Gate and Xenoblade rep, god. But Tifa is one of my favorite Final Fantasy and RPG characters of all time. She's the reason why I love the Monk class and she's the reason why I got into Final Fantasy in the first place. She was a lot of fun to play as in the remake. Her movement, her speed, her fighting style was everything I imagined from the time I played the original Final Fantasy VII. And I can see them translating this very well into Smash. And honestly, Cloud could use a break and fight alongside her cause everywhere Cloud goes, Sephiroth just follows. With FF7 Rebirth coming out this year, talking about Tifa being in Smash is the perfect time, and since I can't play it because it's exclusive and I don't have a PS5, it's really all I can do, so let's just move on. I would like to say, so this isn't part of the script, I also want Tifa to be in Tekken 8, you know? I don't understand why they didn't put her in Tekken 7, but FF7 Rebirth is coming out a month after Tekken 8, so please, Tifa for Tekken 8 also? Tifa for Smash? Tifa for Tekken 8? Pokemon! I've always wanted another Pokemon trainer in Smash. Red being able to swap between 3 different Pokemon has always been really cool to me. Form shifting in general is a lot of fun. And I'm really happy that they kept the same mechanic on my favorite Xenoblade 2 girls, Hyra and Mithra. God, I'm so happy they're in the game. So what if we put that same form shift mechanic with Brendan and May? I was initially thinking that their lineup would be similar to Red's, where it's the first lineup, second lineup, and a final evolution of the 3 starters. So I was thinking maybe Mudkip, Grovyle, and then Blaziken, but I decided to just make it all 3 of their final evolutions. So maybe Swampert is the heavy one, Blaziken could be the one with the balanced speed like Ivysaur, and then Sceptile is the fastest one. Actually, the more I think about it, maybe I'll just keep the first thing I said because I want to play as Mudkip so bad. I know a lot of these characters have been RPG reps, but hear me out, Persona 3 Reload is coming out this year too. Persona 3 Portable is one of my favorite games of all time. It reminded me of why I love RPGs, it's what got me into Shin Megami Tensei, and I love this series to death. That being said, as much as I love Makoto Yuki and FMC, God, I wish he was in Reload, I would absolutely love if Mitsuru represented Persona 3. I love Mitsuru so much. I played Makoto's route in Portable more than once just to romance her again, and that is not changing in Reload. It will also be so sick to see her fighting style in Smash, and then she'd have ice elemental attacks because of her persona, and her persona would look so good to see in Smash, especially fighting Joker and Arsene. Honorable mentions. After making my list, I realized that maybe having honorable mentions doesn't make sense since this is just a wishlist anyway and this is all being done for fun. But I gave myself like a rule to limit one character per series, so here's my honorable mentions. I was really tempted to put the Knight, but the more I thought about it, he's probably better off as an assist trophy in my opinion. That would be really sick though. Demifiend from SMT Nocturne would be really cool, but I think it would be way cooler if he was like a boss you fight in classic mode or like the subspace / World of Light equivalent of Smash 6. Nahobino is in my honorable mentions because I loved SMT5 so much. Nahobino had some really cool animations and moves in the game too, and SMT5's soundtrack and combat are, in my opinion, the best soundtrack and combat Atlus has ever produced. Let's see if Metaphor ReFantazio will live up to that because I'm looking forward to that game too. But anyway, I'm cutting Nahobino out of my list because I think people are gonna be as angry as they are now watching this video. And I don't think people would want him to be the mainline SMT representative for Smash anyway. I really wanted to put Shadowheart in. I recently finished her quest in Baldur's Gate and I love her and her character so much. She's incredibly well written and her quest location has become one of my favorite locations in all of RPGs. And it would have been really funny to see Inflict Wounds and Guidance in Smash, but yeah, like I said earlier, I think Karlach would have translated better still. Just really wanted to take that opportunity to gush about God's favorite princess. Because really, that's what this wishlist is all about. Makoto Nijima / Queen would have been really sick. And I talked about this with a friend recently, but we both agreed that it would be cool if her moveset with Johanna would be similar to Wario's motorcycle attacks. And it would be mixed with her nuclear elemental attacks. But yeah, the only reason why Shadowheart and Makoto are in the honorable mentions is because I already added someone from their series. And I put this rule on myself to only add one character per series as much as I wanted to add more than one. Dimitri is definitely in honorable mentions because I feel like it would be too much to have 2-3 houses reps. Not to mention the Arid Bar is already in the game, so I just really like Dimitri, just like these characters I've been gushing about. Lastly, I know Sans is already a Mii costume, but wouldn't it be funny if we got the actual one?